Gentlemen, ladies, what if Superman had decided to fly down, rip off the roof of the White House, grab the president right out of the Oval Office? Who would have stopped him? The Suicide Squad? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation. Today I want to talk about Suicide Squad, the extended cut. Now, I know this came out a while ago on Blu-ray and DVD, but I wanted to get my thoughts out there. And like my mother always told me, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, get it off your chest. You might live longer. So Suicide Squad, the extended cut. Last time I talked about Suicide Squad was in my review for the movie, right after I saw it in theaters. Overall, I did enjoy the film, and I was up on the hype of it when it first came out and I first saw it, but I did recognize it had some problems. Now the extended cut is out on Blu-ray and DVD, even though it was known to contain much less footage than the previous DC movie, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice's ultimate cut, which in my opinion did improve the film, but it did not fix the problems that film had. But it did improve it. So obviously fans couldn't help but wonder, or better yet hope, that Suicide Squad would be improved by its extended cut. Especially since one of the big complaints of the movie was the lack of Joker after he was so heavily marketed, so everyone assumed we would get more of him, whether or not you liked Jared Leto's portrayal. So in my original review, I mostly praised the film because I did like it when I saw it. The more I thought about it and I saw it again, I did realize more and more that the problems that I recognized when I first saw it, but they just stuck out more the more I thought about it. And when I saw the extended cut, this is what I thought. And by the way, from here on out, this video will contain spoilers for Suicide Squad, the extended cut. So, does the extended cut improve the film? No, not really. And it doesn't do anything to fix any of the flaws or answer any questions people may have had. Is there more Joker? A scene, and not a very long one at that. And it's just another flashback, and it doesn't do anything for the plot, but tries to show a little more of how Joker and Harley came together. A few of the extra scenes aren't bad and can be considered enjoyable. Like I said, you get the Joker scene. You get some extended conversation between, the Suicide Squad as they work their way through. And the conversation at the bar that you see in the trailers but was cut from the original film, that's back in the movie. And these scenes are fine, especially since the best part of this movie to me was the interaction between the characters who made up the Suicide Squad. But these scenes do nothing to add to the story or fix the movie. And damn, this movie has problems. The villain is stupid. I really don't think Enchantress even needed to be in this movie, other than she's really the only one that's super powered or supernatural, and the only reason that the Suicide Squad exists in the first place, kinda. They do mention Superman, and I really don't think any of the other characters would be any type of match for him. That's just my opinion. Maybe if Deadshot shot him with a kryptonite bullet while Harley was distracting him, maybe something like that. But other than that, no. But it was like they tried to make the most generic third act with the most generic villains, with the most generic plot and plan, and their generic faceless army, and the most generic beam of light in the sky for like the 5th time the summer of 2016. Meanwhile, one of DC's greatest villains, if not the greatest villain, is heavily sidelined, with hardly any context or direction to his character other than obsessed with Harley, because that's his girl, resulting in fans being almost a split on Jared Leto's performance as the Joker as they are on the movie itself. But I want to come back to that soon. Remember, overall, I did like this film. Being a comic book fan and seeing these characters brought to life and done very well by the actors portraying them made this film enjoyable enough for me. And that being said, there are problems that do exist, so let's go over them, starting with the beginning. The soundtrack, a lot of the soundtrack I like, a lot of it doesn't fit. Not every song even fit the scene it was in. I feel like a lot of scenes could have been a lot better had they taken out the classic song and maybe put it in a score. Especially since the movie in the beginning keeps throwing these songs at you all in a row. Bam, 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 bam. But then halfway through it really pulls back on that. And you don't really hear hardly any songs towards the end of the movie. I really like the characters' intros, even though not even every character got one, but Deadshot and Harley basically get two. Well, the movie opens up with the two scenes, Will Smith in his cell and Margot Robbie in her cell. And to me, it was just like, here are your two stars of the movie. Enjoy. But I, for the most part, like the character intros, especially Boomerang's. His is definitely one of my favorites in this movie, and I actually think the song fit this scene, Dirty Deeds by AC/DC. Plus, there's a pretty cool cameo by The Flash that I actually thought was, good. And I also really liked seeing Batman pop up in this movie against the different villains. He was used briefly. It was still cool seeing him used in a different perspective. And I really love the performances of these characters in this movie. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. You have Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, does such an incredible job. Will Smith as Deadshot, who would have thought that could be so perfect? And even Jai Courtney, surprising everybody as Captain Boomerang, ended up being one of my favorite parts of the movie. I even like everybody from Killer Croc to El Diablo. Katana is literally late to the movie, almost missing the chopper. First of 3 of which will go down in this movie, each of which with key characters surviving. The first one, when the whole squad goes down, and I have literally no idea who shot them down. They don't even address it, and they literally just hop out. I'll give the Joker surviving his crash a pass because I like the ambiguity of his character and how he seems to survive crazy odds off camera or off page like in comics. And no one knows how, but I like that. And then Amanda Waller at the end, her chopper gets shot down and she survives. One thing I thought was kind of confusing or weird about this movie, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's something I missed, but when Enchantress escapes and releases her brother, and her brother starts wreaking havoc, starting in the subway and then tearing up all of Mid-City, it's the guy at the Pentagon who calls in Task Force X. Give me Task Force X, in response to the brother, tearing up the city. Somewhere along the line, the mission gets changed to now we have to extract so-and-so from the middle of the city, and we all know it's Amanda Waller. But them stopping Enchantress and her brother is never brought up, and after they get Waller on a chopper, they're supposedly supposed to wait on a chopper, but then she gets shot down, so they end up kind of getting stuck in the city still, and they end up having to face the villains to save the world. So was this always the behind the scenes plan, or did they just ignore the original call from the Pentagon and it just worked out that way? I don't really know. So you can find flaws and things to be appreciated in this movie, but in my opinion, the third act is by far the weakest. The beginning is okay, it has some good, it has some bad, but it's the middle of this movie that I actually think is pretty good and is what makes this movie overall likable. Pretty much in between the first helicopter crash and the last helicopter crash, when the Suicide Squad is just journeying through Midway City and they have a lot of time to interact with each other. This is by far when the movie is at its best, along with a couple action scenes against Enchantress's army, which are pretty good. They're nothing mind-blowing in the action scenes, but it's not bad and it's entertainable. But one of my bigger complaints with it is that some of the characters were underused and could have been used more creatively. I mean, seriously, how many boomerangs did Captain Boomerang even throw in this movie? I don't know, but that scene with Deadshot on the car was pretty cool. But yeah, them just walking around, getting to know each other, talking, Harley getting under people's skins, Captain Boomerang trying to lead people down the wrong path for his own benefit. I like that. It was cool. It was fun. So there was one thing that really stuck out to people when they went and saw this movie in the third act, in the final fight. And there's a lot of debate over whether El Diablo would have made the decision, the sacrificing decision that he made for the other members of the Suicide Squad at the end of the movie. Is it too much of a 180 for his character to feel that way? Calling them his family and all that, only having spent the day with these criminals and villains? Honestly, I say yes. I think it actually makes a lot of sense, especially when you pay attention to the character from the beginning. His change towards making a decision like this has been in progress from before we've even seen him. They have him in this very special tank cell thing that if he ever tries to, burn anybody up or break out, they just flush him with water. It's pretty clear that he has no intentions of hurting anybody or escaping, very unlike the guys he torched in prison. Even on the mission, he holds back from the fight and has to be pushed into using his power. We know he killed his family by accident, and he's been living with this guilt and burden ever since, showing why he is so reluctant to use his power, let alone hurting people in general, which is already a drastic change from the man he claimed to be in the backstory he told. Obviously, killing his own daughter, own wife has haunted him ever since, and by the time the movie comes around, not to mention right after he has a vision of his family, he sees a chance for the redemption he's been searching for a long time, whether he's realized it himself or not. He isn't just doing this for the squad, he's doing it for his own family as well. Not to mention, he's gone through more with these people now than most people will ever go through in a lifetime. But that's at least how I see it. Other than his transformation, that final fight is pretty weak. Just your generic lights and bad guy. Everyone gangs up on Enchantress, and while visually some of the combat is cool, not her dancing and all that, it's clear they wouldn't have had a chance against Enchantress when she uses her power to her full extent. But at this point in the movie, it's to be expected. They all try to gang up on her to no avail, till Harley tricks her and stabs her, and then they blow her up. And after they save the day, because Amanda Waller is still a bitch, she does not grant their freedom, and the movie ends with them all pretty much locked up, just waiting for Suicide Squad 2. Well, except for Harley, who gets broken out by the Joker. Let's use that as a segue. Is the Joker one of my favorite comic book characters? Yes. Do I like Jared Leto's performance? Yes. Does he sound like Jim Carrey at times in this movie? In all honesty, I think Jared Leto makes a good Joker. I don't care. See right here. But I really do. I like the look a lot. And I like the voice for the most part, and I like the laugh for the most part. Some people didn't really like him in this movie, but honestly, I think the character suffers from lack of focus and lack of context in this film. And even the depth to his motives or anything, he's literally just in the movie to give more depth to her character, Harley Quinn's. But he seriously is underplayed. I mean, how can you care about anything he says if you're not a Joker fan or comic fan in the first place? Like, if you're an outsider and you come to see this movie and you don't know much about the Joker, you'd be like, who is this freak show? And you'd probably think he was a dick. And I like almost everything from Leto himself in this movie, but some of the writing is where I find a couple problems. He's got a couple lines where I don't even picture the Joker saying that. I don't know how many comic books David Ayers read, but hearing him whine about his memories being taken away and being left in a state of rage and confusion is just kind of weird and really didn't sit well with me as something he'd usually say. I feel like he's his own cause of madness, and he accepts and embraces insanity for, whatever reason, whether he's escaping some kind of pain or what have you. But overall, like I said, I do like it. And other than that, I would love to see this same Joker expanded upon and maybe used more as a main focus in a different movie, like a Batman movie. Joker and Batman don't even share one bit of dialogue in this. With the right director and right script, I really do feel like he could shine in this role. I feel like there is a lot of potential there. I like the way he acts. He's intimidating. I wouldn't want to be in the same room as this guy. He's a loose cannon. I like the gangster aspect. I like that he seems to be a crime boss of some sort. Some people just want him to be obsessed with Batman, which this Joker is to a large degree. But in a cinematic universe, you can't have someone as popular as the Joker being as one note as just being obsessed with Batman, because Batman's got a lot of other things going. He's been in every DCEU movie except Man of Steel. He's going to be in Wonder Woman briefly, I believe, and of course Justice League. So he's doing things in this big giant universe of creative. So the Joker needs things to do in this, and I feel like they actually found a good way to have his character be more interesting. They just didn't execute it well in this film.
And what is this? I want to know the story behind that.
And it is sad because I do feel like he was used to heavily market this movie and sell this film, the Joker. Everybody loves the Joker, but he's barely in the movie. Justice is not done to him and his character. And by giving us this extended cut, we all thought maybe it would fix some of that, and it didn't. And that's kind of a letdown, and that's, the problem with this movie. At least the extended cut is that it didn't even try to fix anything. It was just seemed like to sell more Blu-rays and DVDs. They literally just put some deleted scenes in the movie. Didn't really flesh out or draw out anything in a way that it was supposed to. But with the flaws in this movie, I can't help but like it. Mostly. I mean, it introduces cool characters, and now because of that, it sucks that it wasn't overwhelmingly good because of all the potential. I mean, it had me on so much hype. Maybe that's why I just wanted it to be so good. Ever since I saw the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, I said, damn, this is going to be awesome. And it did let us down a little bit. But like I said, it gives us new DC characters that were done so well. Like Robert Downey as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Reynolds as Deadpool, and how they embodied those characters so well. We have a perfect Harley Quinn now in Margot Robbie.
Viola Davis is Amanda Waller to a T.
Will Smith as Deadshot. This movie created a ton of potential for these characters. I would love to see Deadshot or Killer Croc in the next Batman movie. I would love to see Boomerang in the Flash movie. And they are by far the best part of this movie. And as I stated before, the second act, when they are just strolling around together, is the best part of this film. And I wish there was more of that. It could have been a much more grounded film, but they went over the top with Enchantress. And I was definitely intrigued by the Joker. And despite the flaws in this film, I can still see myself going back time to time and enjoying this movie. But that's just my opinion. I would love to know what you think. Did you like, love, or hate Suicide Squad the extended cut? This is AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, did you like this video? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, click right here on this icon to become a subscriber. And if you are a subscriber, don't forget to ring that bell so you can stay updated with all my videos. And if you want to see another video just like this one, click right here. And as always, thanks for watching AnTalk, the weekly comic conversation.